Hello everyone, thank you for joining me here on this, the 14th episode of Vegan Police TV. This episode is just a little short one to share some of my thoughts on what has happened with the ABC radio interview that I just did today. I'll include a link down in the description if it's still available. If it's not, I'll see if I can upload an MP3 for you to listen to it. But there was an author, Richard Cornish. He's published a book called My Year Without Meat. So he goes into talking about what he found when he was avoided eating meat for 12 months. So his reaction and what he felt and what his thoughts were and all that sort of stuff. Now, one of the things that he's come out and said was that vegetarians and vegetarians get bullied a lot, and that Australians in general loathe vegans. Now, with that, I just wanted to share some of my thoughts on that, because there were people coming into, because it was on ABC, there was on the comments on the Facebook page and all that sort of stuff. So it was, having a chat to the people beforehand, and they were reading some of the comments that were coming out. Now, these were, the typical, you mentioned bacon, vegan, and you get the bacon comments, and I'm a vegetarian, I'm a person eating tasty animals, and all that sort of stuff. Now, to have that happen, which was interesting, is that the producer and the host were obviously, they consume meat, but they hadn't realised that until they put this out, because they've heard Richard say that this happens, and they've thought, oh, okay, maybe not. But then they've faced it themselves, because they've seen all these comments come out on their Facebook page and on Twitter and all that sort of stuff. So it's sort of, really, that does happen. And having discussions with them off air is, shared some of the things that have happened, some of the comments that I've received due to being vegan and things like that. And it's just interesting is that here's these two people that they were honestly surprised by the way that other people react, and it makes it interesting, because the thing is that are people, as society in general, are they put off by vegans? Are they, do they loathe vegans, or is it their fear of the unknown, that they don't know anything about veganism, so they respond the way that most people respond, with the juvenile retorts, responses, comments and things like that. So having the discussion with the host, Kelly, apologies, I'm driving and stuck in traffic, so mine's going on a gazillion things at a moment. They were genuinely curious about why I chose to become vegan. The discussions were brilliant. Whether they go vegan or not, I don't know. One thing I do know, because I did mention a beetroot burger, there were a couple of people that have tweeted in saying that they do want the recipe for the beetroot burger, so that will be going up online whenever that gets around to it, and all that sort of stuff. So there's, someone's thoughts there is that, oh, let's try this, beetroot burger, let's try this. So they're willing to try something different. There's just, any number of things that can be done with regards to that. So there's all, is it bullying, or is it, I'm lost where I'm going now, so I'm getting distracted by traffic. Going back to what I was, yes, bullying. Are we bullied? For myself, I sort of ended up turning getting a thick skin towards bacon, and hey, let's try this, or all you need is some meat to toughen you up, and this and that. Ended up tuning myself out to that, because to a certain extent I didn't take that as bullying. I took that as a juvenile response, because the person, they don't know how to respond, they don't know what to say, so they resort to the lowest common denominator of everything, which is juvenile comments. For my peers and all that sort of stuff, and my friends, different social groups that I've maybe even professional groups, I haven't had anyone really have a crack at me about veganism. It did happen once in a job. How long ago was that? I'm probably looking about 10 years now. Was working doing as a bouncer in one of the clubs in one of the little community clubs in Brisbane, and they have raffles as they do at the things, and supposedly part of the role of the security personnel was to walk around with this with a meat tray, and I refused to do it. I said, no, I'm not going to do it because, you know, meat trays are meat trays, dripping blood and everything like that, and I just refused to do it. The manager at the time, in all his cleverness, said, well, I'll give you some gloves. And I said, no, you don't understand. I do not want this anywhere near me. I don't want to be facing the smell of this, you know, the meat in the, you know, walking around the meat tray. And it's the other thing too, is that, which really pissed him off as well, pardon the French, was that I pushed the thing that, hey, that wasn't my job. My job was to do security. So if something happens while I'm walking around the meat tray, I can't respond to it. So he sort of didn't like that, and the working relationship deteriorated after that. That was more to do with his fact that he couldn't get his own way, rather than it was for me for being vegan. So that was the only thing that I've had. That I've gone out to dinner. I've had you know, business meetings with CEOs of you know, blue chip companies and all that sort of stuff. And they've all been concerned about making sure that I can get get something to eat. Came down to drinks after dinner. I'm the one that chose the wine because, hey, we're just going to make sure it's suitable for you. What about the beers? And this is the thing that I think what it comes down to is, what standard are you willing to accept as a vegan? Are you willing to accept someone that has a go at you about you know, your choice not to consume animal products? Are you willing to accept you know, your friends, your peers, you know, your social group? Are you willing to accept them, you know, making you go to different places where you can't get anything to eat? If you're not willing to accept it, don't accept it. Don't, you know, and so that's what it comes down to, is that, yeah, it's you know, it's more about, if you're willing to accept the bullying, then the bullying is going to continue. If you're not willing to accept it, it won't continue, because you draw that line in the sand, say, no, I've had enough, this is it. You know, and as I said on the panel discussion, is that there's pretty much anywhere that you can go. Most restaurants, apart from the pre-packaged ones that are deliberately pre-packaged with everything, you can always find something suitable to eat as a vegan. For those people who say that, oh no, you know, there's nothing to eat anywhere, well, how have you approached your staff? Have you done your research beforehand? Have you, when you've arrived at the place, have you spoken to the host, the maitre d', the hostess, the host, whoever, the wait staff that come out? Have you approached them and said, hey, listen, this is, you know, and you know, an ad hoc turn up to here, wasn't expecting to turn up to this place. Is there something that you can make for a vegan? Though, you know, there might be a little bit of backwards and forwards with the chef and all that sort of stuff. But the thing that I've found too is that most places I go to, the chefs actually enjoy the challenge like that, because it gives them the chance to get away from that standard menu of, hey, we've got to have meat, this, blah 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 blah. So I was going to mention that in the thing, though I didn't want to contradict what Richard had said beforehand at the top of the discussion. So just say, yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah, bullied. Personally, I've found I've received more bullying from within the vegan community than I have from outside of the vegan community. So whether that is the fact that due to the understanding that vegans think that they're all enlightened, and as soon as someone goes to challenge their position, they don't know how to respond, so they resort to the normal tactics of, you have bullying and harassment and whatever else, and inappropriate comments and things like that. So who knows? That's something that someone with a lot more letters after my name and after their name and a lot more education than what I've got, they can sit down and work that out one day and pontificate and ponder it and do whatever else they want to do about it and find out the reason why that happens. So for me, I don't think bullying is as rampant from outside into vegans as it is that they make it out to believe. You know, I've said some pretty controversial things. I've written some pretty controversial things in the past. People who aren't vegan tend to be more receptive to it than those who are, because, as I've said, it challenges their position. They're not comfortable with it. So, you know, take that any way that you want. So, anyway, that was my thoughts on that. I'd just thought I'd give a quick update and share my thoughts on bullying and all that sort of stuff. So, what did I say this one was? Episode 14. You'll be able to find a bit more of a discussion on this on veganpolice.tv/episode 14. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.